Welcome friends to another Dune video. Today we will examine several examples of the Sardaukar in operation. We will see them take apart a smuggling operation, blockade a planet, and take over and destroy an artificial moon. Spoilers for the Dune prelude series throughout. Let's get into it. As the planets prepared to evacuate, Sardaukar in attack thopters arrived. Flying low, they dropped concussion bombs which made fractures in the frozen walls. Lasgun beams broke the cliffs into pieces. This unleashed the ice in the walls and sent boulders tumbling down into craters. And then the thopters dived like predators into the chasm, and there dropped more bombs to take out 4 parked transport ships. What strikes me here are how well prepared they are in terms of knowing the terrain and how relentless they are faced with this enemy. One man rushes into a thopter and fires up its engines. It lifts up and the weapons become hot, but before he could take a shot, 2 Imperial ships blew him up. Sardaukar troop carriers landed on the ground and they came out with lasguns and knives. With great accuracy they slagged Dominic's heavy hauler, and the family atomics the Sardaukar thought were aboard were stranded. The banished Earl knew his smugglers would never get away. His troops ran, firing at the Sardaukar. The Sardaukar slew every smuggler that came up against them. It was like practice and gave them enjoyment. The smugglers are clearly not on the same level as the Emperor's troops here. Jordan retreated into tunnels and his men set up crates as barricades to defend that position. A blast from a Sardaukar lasgun removed the head of Jordan. Dominic had one chance, a desperate one. The troops were the Emperor's, and Dominic of House Vernius could strike a blow against the Emperor with them as the message. The Sardaukar's fire began to bring down the walls of the chasm. Dominic moved inside his base with some of his men. The Sardaukar came into the facility with attack formations, cutting down any and all opposition. They really come across here as the Emperor's feared force, unstoppable. This type of mission is perhaps where their reputation will have come from. Dominic's men promised to hold the Sardaukar as long as they could, and Dominic entered the armoured storage. When he did that, an explosion afterwards trapped him and some of his men in there, but it would not stop the Sardaukar. They would cut through the barrier in minutes. They had him their mission to complete. Dominic chose a stone burner which could destroy an area of his choosing. He set it to only destroy the base. There was no reason to use it to destroy all of Arrakis. The Sardaukar got into the vault just long enough to see the remaining time on the stone burner, and then, as the book says, then everything went white hot. Such is the dominance of them. Here, their opposition sees no point in trying to fight them on their terms. It's more about using the Sardaukar as a statement against the Emperor. Here the Sardaukar attack a house to take spice that they are holding illegally. The Sardaukar arrived at Corona as a show of force, and the vessels fly towards the artificial moon. Supreme Bashar Zum-Garon tells the planet of House Riches that they have melange stores that are not documented, breaking the law of the Landsraad. He ignores the planet's responses and tells them to prepare the contraband for him. Battle frigates entered the moon, receiving bays. Those inside tried to seal the airlocks, but the cruisers simply blasted the hatches away, letting the life inside spill out into space. Claws then forced open the sealed hull of the moon. The Bashar gave a warning if they found enough evidence that any remaining person on the moon would die. The Sardaukar entered the facility. Those who worked inside ran for evacuation ships. The Sardaukar is split to search quicker. A man pleads for more time to evacuate. The soldiers opened fire. A scientist says the Richesian mirrors there are of vital importance. They can give power like a small sun. The Bashar says they can be saved, but where is the spice? And so the scientist tells him. As the moon is to be blown up by atomics, the scientist is then later told he cannot leave with the Sardaukar, as it's illegal for a civilian to be on board a military ship. So the Sardaukar claim the mirrors and the spice. We see them here using their authority to take things that might benefit the Emperor and possibly themselves as well. The Imperial ships moved away, and then the atomics devoured the moon. It looks like a firestorm from the ground, and within days, the retinal damage done blinds a quarter of the planet's population. In our third and final scenario, artificial spice is used to poison a guild navigator, and this brings it to the attention of the Emperor. The Sardaukar fleet is sent in, and when the defense satellites detect their approach, the planet's alarms go off. The Prime Magistrate sends private forces to form a defense network around Bikali. The Bashar tells the planet they have been placed under siege as they have stockpiled melange. The head of the house needs to confess or prove his innocence for the blockade to be lifted. The Sardaukar fleet moved slowly towards them, applying pressure. On the planet, they discuss how the melange stockpile has already left the planet. The fleet entered orbit around the planet, but did not engage. They would blockade the planet and stop any vessels getting down to the planet. And they waited. Here we see between the Sardaukar's forces and reputation, they can bring an entire planet to its knees. As in our world, where armies might stop people leaving a town or castle, applying the pressure to limit food and other vital resources to get what they want. Now scale that up and think of the same idea being applied to a whole planet. Now friends, I turn this over to you. What do you think to the Sardaukar in operation? Do their actions measure up to their reputation? Has your artificial moon been taken over by them? Comment down below.